Hello, this is David Waumsley, and this is a video I hadn't expected to make. As I'm recording this on the 21st of June 2018, I'm fairly confident this will go out of date in a number of weeks, but I still wanted to do it because I wanted to share what the Beaver Builder team are doing at the moment. I think it's bold and exciting, and they have made available to Beaver Builder users the development version of an update they're doing to the Page Builder plugin. So we get a chance to play with version 2.2 of Beaver Builder, and if you're a Beaver Builder user, you can download this now from your account and start playing with it, but please don't put it on any live sites because this is a version which isn't complete yet. They're inviting people to get involved in the conversation about what may need to go into this release. So I think that's really exciting, and that's why I'm doing this video. In some ways, there's no real reason to do this video because the lead developer, Justin Booster, did an excellent explainer video, which he certainly shared with the Beaver Builder Facebook group. I'm sure he shared it with the Slack group as well. But I know that not everybody is involved in those social communities, so you might stumble across my video and it might help you to get involved in this as well, which is my purpose for doing it. But if you can get access to Justin's video, then go and check that out first, because I'm sure he does a much better job than I'm going to do. If you're someone who doesn't use Beaver Builder at the moment, well, you can still see what's going on because you can go over to their live demo sites for alpha and beta testing, which is not always open, but the link will be below. And if you go into their Page Builder demo, that's got this dev version in it. You can also check what's new by going to their change log, which is over here, and lists everything they've done so far. I know that there are some other features which are due to come with row separators. I think that'll be a fairly major feature. And there are some things here which are, I think, generic, which haven't been added to all of the modules yet. So things are changing as we go along. Also, if you do watch my videos, I've also added it to my live demo site where I add examples on videos I've done. So recently I've done one on the Beaver Builder theme, which is in alpha at the moment, the Beaver Themer plugin, which is also in alpha, and finally I've added this dev version of 2.2. so there's an awful lot that's going on at the moment, and hurriedly I have made up a little page over here, which is what we're looking at over here. So rather than repeat what Justin has already covered in his videos, I'm going to just give you my take on it, and obviously I'm going to skim over the features here because it's just too much to cover. But in essence, this is adding so much more responsive flexibility, and it's so much easier to work responsively. And also we've got some typography settings which have been added to most of the modules, which really solves a load of problems. Anyway, let me just go over to the same page where I've got the Page Builder open, and you can see that I've got it on a responsive setting here before. So as things are before 2.2, we have the responsive settings here. We see them with an icon. We click on that and that changes our display, which is quite nice. But once you go out of that module, you lose it, goes back to the full, and you have to dive back in. Well, now we can control this at the front end. In fact, there's a shortcut key apart from these options over here where we can just press R and it's going to change to the different layouts. It's going slow for some reason on this. I do have the third-party plugins included in this install, and possibly there'll be some conflicts with it because obviously they've got their live version and this is a much earlier version, so they wouldn't obviously have adjusted theirs to this, so there might be a few snags due to that. But as you can see already, I've given the game away here. I did a video some time ago where I featured a plugin from Tom Carlos, I think his name is, from the Beaver.team, and he gave a free plugin which was fantastic that did mobile responsive background images. Well, now that's included now in the core over here, and as you can see, I've changed this out to actually tiled background images for the backgrounds for the responsive over here. And as you can see here, I've also lined the typography, and these are the kind of typography settings you're going to find now. So depending on the setting here, you can decide the size, you can decide the line height, alignment. You've also got some spacing settings here, text transform, decoration styles, variants, and you've also got text shadow, and we've got a lot drop shadows as well throughout all of the modules as well. So it really solves the problems that I would have when I'm first doing a website. Typically I'll start with a home page, and it's usually starting with some kind of hero section at the beginning, which has the main message, the purpose for somebody to pay any attention to a website, the value proposition, if you like. And often I've wanted, even though the header module's been good for alignment, I've often wanted a little bit of a drop shadow here to just bring out light text against a fairly light background. So I've been able to do that here. The next bugbear was I wanted to do my description ideally in the text editor. Well, now it's fantastic because I've got all those typography settings here, so I can choose my font as well for this one. So often I might want, as I have here, a different font to what I'm using throughout the theme just for this one area. So I can do that, I can align it and on all the other things that you just saw. And also the same with the buttons here. There's a nice little feature that could have easily been missed, where if you add the icon here, you can hide it, and when it's hovered over it comes with this nice little animation. So I think that pretty much covers everything I would want on those kind of hero top areas here. We've got gradients as well through this. Somehow I've duplicated this one here. And I think we're going to start looking at the callout module. This is a module that I ignored for quite a long time. In theory, it should be a good module. It had a header, it had the text, it had a place to align images or icons here, and you could put in your links or your buttons. But I really didn't use it that much, and it would work responsively quite well. And I do know that some people are big fans of the third-party plugins that had info boxes. Well, I think this now replaces, if not even improves on that, particularly when combined with column backgrounds, which we can now set. And since the last release, of course, columns we can now save individually, so we can work much better with columns. So now, because of the responsive settings which we've got, where we can align our text, our headers, our text, we can decide what fonts we're going to use, whether the size of them. We can align these sort of globally to center the whole thing, or have this one side or the other side, or above this or below. It's going to give us lots of design options. So maybe my plan is, I think, just to test myself, is to get a series of professional templates and try and mock those up using Beaver Builder when I think 2.2 is a little bit more secure and we've got the final things in. We've also got more options on images as well. Here, as you can see, I've added some border radius to those images, so we can set those. We've got drop shadows as well that we can apply over this, and we've got some bordering, as you can see here. Drop shadows are on the columns over here. I am starting to use Beaver Theme more often as a way of creating my headers, so I'm using replacement headers, and the menu module here has got some alignment that has been added. It wasn't there before, and it made it a little bit problematic, but now you can decide, depending responsively, where your menu is going to be placed, whether it's going to be right, center, or left. So that's great. It means that I can now easily move this text, say, on the tablet view underneath the logo there, and then I could maybe have that still centered, turning into the hamburger icon, for example. I still think there's probably things that need sorting out here with the color options. I'm not entirely clear. I need to spend some time, but if you're somebody like me who uses that, then please do take a check, and you might just spot some things that might be worth suggesting to the team. We've also got some, I believe, extra things in terms of being able to set the background colors. So of course we've got the drop shadows. I've gone a bit drop shadow crazy here that can be applied to these different individual areas. We've now got some colors that I don't believe were there. So I think this is going to be great, because instead of needing to go to a third party just for something like this, or to avoid using CSS now, you can use this in Beaver Builder. And third parties are still going to be fantastic for their plugins. They're not going to go out of business because so many unique modules will be used. But if you don't need to use those, then at least you've got these sort of defaults in Beaver Builder as well. And I think there's some more options for coloring the tabs as well. And if I would, I missed that one. There's a little animation here. Each of the modules, I believe, and the rows and the columns themselves have in their advanced tab got more animations. They've used animate.css, if you're familiar with that, which has some sort of swinging and ta-da and some wobbly animations. Now, I'm not a big fan of those myself, but they can be used really subtly to call out attention. I think it's quite nice. I only saw it on a site only yesterday where a whole row was kind of coming in quite nicely with animation, and you could do the very same thing with this. It does attract attention where you need it sometimes. So I think I'm coming close to it. There are just some nice additions. You'll have to sort of poke around to find things. What is quite nice is that we've now got these sliders as well. If we want to change, now I'm changing the spacing here, but we can do that with all of the sizes. Most things have got a slider here. All the color settings we'll see now have, no, it's applying to my text, not really what I want, but you can see what I'm getting at here. We've now got an alpha slider. I don't think it's added to all of the modules yet, but I believe that's the intention. So that I think is a great addition. And also when we are changing some multiple, let's see, I haven't got an example here, I don't think. Maybe here we can actually, there's a little link icon that you'll see. So if we were changing our padding settings on something, let's just go over here, there we are. So if we were setting our margins and paddings here, we can link it, so when we change all of these, they're all going to change together like that, and we can unlink them. Also, nearly forgot this, we've also got a lot more options. We've not just got pixels everywhere, depending on where it makes sense. We've got percentages. We've also got VH, which is the viewport height, where it makes sense. And I think we've got EMs as well on some of the typography. I think that's enough from me, don't you? You need to check this out yourself. I hope you do. I hope this encourages you to do this. It helps all of us if you do. I think this is going to be a really fabulous update. I think it really bridges the gap, I think, that some people felt who were more designers who weren't happy to work with CSS, who kind of like the stability that you get with Beaver Builder. They're very cautious not to add bloat, but I think, you know, some things were needed more to make things easier, and I think this is just the right balance. So really excited about this. I hope you feel the same and get involved. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I will talk to you again in hopefully a better prepared video. Okay, bye-bye.